Ladies and gentlemen, I am very delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you. I was so happy when I saw the title of your conference, Freedom versus Communism. You guys just hit the right point. Communism is not the opposite to capitalism or so. It's the opposite to freedom. So this is great, really great. But I was asked to talk about, CCP and its threat to Europe. Now, in order to understand CCP's threat to Europe, we better to learn more about the nature of CCP, because the threats come from the nature of CCP. So you guys probably know that CCP was established under the leadership or guidance of the Soviet Communist Party, 1921, in Shanghai. It was founded. And since then, they have been moving to grab the power. But how? I mean, we know that today, now it's say almost 100 years since they founded the Communist Party. Today, they are, so to say, much bigger, much stronger. So how come that has happened? Well, there are many, many reasons. The main reason is, of course, they are very good in applying the principle of the end justifies the means. That means for their end, what is their end? Their end is hegemony. Hegemony over China, hegemony over Asia, hegemony over the world. Now, for that purpose, for that end, any means for them is okay. Any means. Deception, lies, propaganda, killing, violence, torture, just name it. So this is one side of the reason. Another side of the reason is we in the free world, we have been making mistakes again and again in judging the nature of CCP. In the beginning, CCP using violence to grip power in China, it was not so successful, because to fight again, at that time, the Chinese government, the government of Republic of China, which is the same government who is governing Taiwan today. They are still officially called Republic of China. The army, the military, and the power of the Republic of China was much stronger than the newly founded Chinese Communist Party. They had difficulty to get power, but what happened is, during the Second World War, China was invaded by Japan, and they make maximum use of the Japanese invasion, and they applied brilliantly, in a way, deception. When the Japanese was fighting and killing Chinese, then they talked to the Chinese government at that time and say, hey, we are both Chinese. Let's work together against the foreign invaders. Well, they are good in reception. So the government of China at that time believed in them. And what they did is they just used this cooperation to spy, to find out all the internal structure, internal information flow, whatever, all the internal idea, all the secrets of the government. So after a while, they find an excuse to stop the cooperation and use that to fight against the government army. And actually, they never really spent a lot of effort to fight the Japanese. They let the Japanese to kill the soldiers of the government army. So that was already typical, their way of getting power. Now, after they took power in mainland China, well, I would say I should add a little bit. Before they took power, again, the free world, the leader of the free world, America, made a mistake again. They sent a delegation consisting of American government official and military to China to talk to Mao Zedong and his people. And Mao was telling him, or telling them, that, once we manage to get power and control over China, we will introduce a political system similar to the American one. Sounds very nice in the ear of the Americans. So for the American, they were thinking, actually, it doesn't matter who wins, communists or this Kuomintang, because they both will go for the American model. Yeah. So what happened is they did not really wholeheartedly support Chiang Kai-shek, because they thought maybe Chiang Kai-shek will lose. Chiang Kai-shek, I mean the opponent to the communists. Yeah. So that is another reason why the communists managed to take power. Now, and after that, they continue their journey of deception and violence. Yeah. So now come the violence time. After they took power in 1949, you know what they did? They sealed China, basically. At that time, from in the 50s, the 60s, all the way to the end of Cultural Revolution, it was extremely difficult for Chinese, for example, to travel outside China, and also difficult for people to go to China, only under control. Only so many people that they managed to monitor every tourist in China. Yeah? At that time, very few. And why they do it? So basically, they close all the door, seal up the whole country, because they want to make a cleansing of the country. What does that mean? That means all opponents and potential opponents are to be wiped out from the country. So they started different political campaign, killing thousands and thousands or 100,000s of rich people, intellectual. Well, they also persecute the Tibetans and Uyghurs and all the way until today they persecute Falun Gong, right? So it's a long process of persecution. And at that time, the free world under leadership of America didn't pay much attention to China, because at that time, enemy number one was Soviet Union. So they took the chance, and also they cheat also America. They told Henry Kissinger and Nixon, President Nixon, that Chinese Communist Party, we don't share really the same opinion as the Soviet. We can even imagine to work together with America to fight Soviet Union. And again, Western world made another mistake and thought that was true. So they never define CCP as an enemy. They even look at CCP as a possible potential partner to be won over. Sorry. So there's another, and that what happened is, so their cleansing process could be carried out basically undisturbed. Why? The Western world was fighting Soviet Union, and you guys know better than me what at that time, right, during the Cold War and so on. Now, after fixing Soviet Union, the Chinese communists continue to play that role. No, we are, we are not like Soviet Union. And unfortunately, the free world people make another mistake. And they thought, well, after the fall of Soviet Union, we are now in a new age, a new period of, peace and, nice. And, China is not so dangerous as Soviet Union. And they don't even like Soviet. So we are moving to a better time. So the alert of the danger of communism went down drastically. And when you are not alert, it's like you are putting away all your weapons. You are no longer in a defense status. So you are very, very actually vigorous to be attacked. Now, what happened is, in striving for a world hegemony, this new leader after the Cold War period in China was called Deng Xiaoping, and he got a new idea. Yeah, well, actually, it probably is part of the master plan from how they become a world leader. It's part of the so. At that time, the strategy was, we are not strong enough to challenge America and the free world. So let's do the other way around. Let's play a low profile. So the strategy is called hide our strength and bide our time. Yeah. So what does that mean? That means, well, they start to, sipping out in the whole world. China is actually making reform. We are going to be one of the democratic countries. Something like that. They give you the impression. Yeah. In the same time, they step up their infiltration in the West, and particularly Europe, but also North America. What sort of infiltration? Well, particularly in media, in university, in the academic world, yeah, they were spreading a lot of theory that can pave the way for China to come to Europe so that they can be accepted. So how do you do it? Well, you don't accept anyone, but if you think that this is an evil regime, then you will not accept them. So you have to make some nice painting on your face. And that's what they did. So they spread around through different methods, by money, by bribing, by agent, and also actually inviting a lot of leftist thinking people to China and give them a nice picture about China so that they come back and telling you, oh, China is really, seems to be the first socialist country that has become successful. Socialism can be, very common in Europe. Many people think nothing wrong with socialism, nothing wrong with communism, only that those communists did not do a good job. And now this time, China did a good job because they saw the economy of China grow. Why it grow? Well, because they were a very good showmaster. They showed the Western world, oh, we are just a poor developing country. We need your help. Let's work together, build up the economy. When the economy becomes strong, become rich, people will ask for more human rights and freedom and democracy. So that was a very popular idea at that time, engaging China, so that with the hope that China would become one of us. It never became true. But what became true is this hide our strength and bide our time worked very well. So China managed to access to a lot of Western high-tech technology, yeah, and managed to come into the World Trade Organization and make a lot of profit and strengthen their economic power. And by stealing technology, they also strengthen their military power, because in high-tech, many high-tech are dual use high-tech. That means you can use it for civilian purpose, same technology, you can use it for military purpose. So the Chinese military has been modernizing, and the armament has developed tremendously fast. Some people say that they built double so many warships per year than America today. Yeah. So, but of course, warship is not everything. But anyway, the trading between China and the West, particularly Europe, has been several-fold bigger. But the change in the direction, democracy and freedom and human rights, almost nothing. Nothing. They are still doing the same human rights violations, the same abuses, but modernized with high tech. Now let's look at the threat to Europe. What I've been telling you is, don't have any illusion, because the CCP, from the very first day of their founding, they have the same goal all the time, to have world hegemony. In the beginning, they call it world revolution. Yeah? They thought they can, with the help of communists in all different countries in the world, to break down the free world so that they can be the boss for the whole world. But later they found out it didn't work, so then they didn't talk about a world revolution. Today they talk about have a new world order. Now, who is the boss for the new order? Of course, the CCP. So that has never changed. You guys have to understand. Yeah, and they think they are approaching their goal to be the boss of the new world order. Yeah, how do they do it? Well, unfortunately, I know that Poland is part of this One Belt, One Road project. You guys are letting Chinese CCP to build the railways in your country, yeah, and to lend you money and so on. Well, it sounds nice, but be careful. There is a purpose. You have to ask yourself, are they so nice to us because they really want to help us? They really want Poland to become more prosperous and more peaceful and more enjoyable society, and harmonious society? Is it that they really want? Or they have a hidden agenda? Well, I guess you guys have no problem to understand that there is a hidden agenda. Yeah. So what they have been doing is, now, they know in the whole history, to control the world, you need to control infrastructure, always. Infrastructure is like the circulation, blood circulation system in the body. Yeah. But there are two types of infrastructure. One is the physical infrastructure, meaning roads, yeah, shipping, transport, airport for the flight infrastructure, and so on. That is for the physical transport of material and people, right? That's the important part. Without that, if you have the control of that, you are the boss. If you stop the communication, you stop the transportation, everything else stop. So, but they also understand in the modern globalized world, and other infrastructure is as vital as the physical one, and that is the information infrastructure. And that's why they have a company called Huawei, totally supported by the party. And actually, in reality, they work as a part of the party or part of the army. So, unfortunately, as long as I know, you guys in Poland and many other European countries still hasn't understood how dangerous to have Huawei to dominate their 5G network. Yeah, this is nothing but a One Belt, One Road project for the information, because information is power. So if they got the chance to build your 5G, they will be able to easily find out everything going on in the country. What you guys are planning to do, what you guys are discussing, you have no more secret, neither on the state level or on the private level or the privacy level. No more secret. I can guarantee you that. And like company like Germany, yeah, saying that, okay, we will not allow Huawei to be in the sensitive central part of the network, but the peripheral one is okay. This is nonsense. I understand so much telecommunication technology. If you let them in any part, they will find a way. You would just make them a little bit more difficult to find the information they want to tap. Yeah, but it's not a solution. And so for example, in Germany, I'm sorry to say that German government, at least many of them, hasn't understood the evil nature of CCP. CCP, through exporting the virus from Wuhan, that's why it's correct to call it CCP virus. They exported. It's very simple. Yeah, why? You just raise a question. Since they knew about this virus, they stopped all domestic flight from Wuhan to any other Chinese city, but they allow all flight to go from Wuhan to any cities in the world. If it is not because you want to export virus, why? Okay, so that's for sure. Now, and amid this terrible pandemic, German Chancellor was saying, "Oh, we should, respect China as a member of the international community. We should do more cooperation and investment." My goodness, yeah, that is unfortunately is true. But there are some positive development also, like in UK. UK made the same decision as Germany as regard Huawei. Only for peripheral part of the network, not for the central part. And now, after the pandemic, well, maybe it's a good thing that Boris Johnson, he himself got the CCP virus, yeah, and lying in the hospital, even in intensive care. And after that, he said he has to rethink about his China policy. And now they have decided no Huawei as soon as possible. And he put the objective at latest year 2023, there should be 0 Huawei in the UK network. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to tell you that it is a threat to Europe. And be careful. The threat is not just that Chinese rocket is coming to Europe. In modern time, war started in the invisible way. Yeah, China has already occupied a lot of our infrastructure. All the countries using Huawei, they actually accept occupation by the CCP in the information structure. Anyone building harbors and airport and high-speed train and all this, railway, with China, with CCP behind it, you are losing. You are letting them occupy your infrastructure. So by the time you wake up and want to stop it, it may be too late because, as I said, the one who controls the infrastructure, he is holding the handle of a knife. And you have only the chance to hold the other part of the knife. It will be tough. So this kind of thing, you don't start to do anything, care about it first when it is too late. It is already pretty late. We have to wake up. In Europe, particularly in Europe, some people even think, let China and US fight each other. We take the advantage. You know, there are people even dreaming, but USA is withdrawing their business connection. They're cutting off the business connection and moving away the factory from China. And some Europeans think, wow, this is our chance. Let's fill out the vacuum the American and the Japanese left behind. Very dangerous thinking. You know why? I can give you advice. Maybe you think it's a smart idea, yeah? But, well, money is not everything anyway. But the thing is, if you do that, you know what happened? Because the Chinese economy actually is in the bad shape. Because they are very good in covering up. They are world master in covering up things, yeah? And in lying. So, and also, America, yeah, under the leadership of people like Donald Trump, Mike Pompeo, Mike Pence, and Peter Navarro, and so on, they are not going to have much compromise with the CCP. So they have determined that they will crack down CCP. And one way to do it is they will stop all the capital flow going to China. And without capital flow to China, the Chinese economy will not grow as it did before. Yeah, there was a lot because of Western technology and capital. You only have a lot of labor, doesn't help. So that will happen. And so if Europe invests more than before in China, so what happened? With the China economy went down to, or almost in the level of collapse. So what advantage you will have? Forget it. So I wish that European leaders, start to rethink. I think they have to seriously study what CCP has done, particularly in the case of pandemic, because that shows very clear how they try to plunder a burning house. They are the one who put the fire in the whole world to make it burn. That is the pandemic. And then they started to plunder, buying companies and infiltrate even harder than before. Be careful. And I hope Europe understand. Basically, our basic value is very close to America, not close to China. So when you think about the value, then you should be able to make the right decision. And then the threat of CCP to Europe will reduce. Thank you.